A lot of people, they ask me after I've performed, they come up to me and they ask, hey, you didn't look nervous at all up there. Wow, how do you do it? Or do you still get nervous? Or do you still get stage fright when you're up on stage? And the answer is yes.
Imagine the roar of a sold-out theater suddenly freezing as a little girl steps forward with a smile brighter than the stage lights. Then, boom, the first note blasts out, huge and fearless, and every person in the room gasps at once. That lightning strike was Angelica Hale's first swing at global fame, yet it was only the spark that lit the fuse. Audiences around the planet still talk about the way her grin seemed to shine straight through the camera and into living rooms. You think you know her tale, but most fans have only seen the opening act. Behind the scenes, she kept grinding, learning, and rising while many child stars quietly faded away. So what happened when the applause died down and the red carpet rolled up? Where did all that raw power take her? And how did she turn a single show into a lifelong mission? Prepare to be stunned, because the next chapters carry twists nobody saw coming. This is no simple dream chase. Angelica is building a tower of music, charity, and courage that grows taller every year. Battle for life. Angelica's first battle would have crushed many grown adults. Her mixed Filipino-American roots taught her the strength of tight families and community pride. Lessons that would soon keep her alive. Before she ever held a microphone, she treated the living room coffee table like center stage, belting nursery songs with heart-melting energy that made her relatives cheer until their throats burned. But at 4, disaster smashed her tiny world. A sneaky bacteria tore into her lungs, turning a mild fever into double pneumonia within hours. As her oxygen levels crashed, doctors discovered sepsis raging through her bloodstream. The medical team raced her into an induced coma so machines could do the work her organs no longer managed. Tubes buzzed, pumps clicked, and alarms rang while ECMO Life support cycled her blood outside her body and back in. Those 80 days inside the pediatric intensive care unit felt like an endless night for her parents. Even when she woke, dialysis chained her to the hospital's rhythm. Every treatment sucked away hours that should have been spent playing outside or learning new songs. Her skin bruised, her arms ached, yet her spirit refused to quit. Then came the miracle. Tests showed her mother Eva's kidney was a perfect match. In September 2013, surgeons placed that healthy kidney into Angelica, and the dialysis lights finally dimmed. When she opened her eyes after surgery, the first thing she whispered was a thank you to her mom. Recovery took months of strict diets, dozens of pills, and careful checkups. But every passing week strengthened her lungs and her voice. The ordeal rewired her heart, turning pain into empathy and uncertainty into hard steel. Rise of an advocate. Angelica vowed to shout hope for every child stuck in a sterile hospital room. She signed on as the first youth ambassador for the National Kidney Foundation and stormed Capitol Hill to raise awareness during World Kidney Day events. Reporters often caught her telling lawmakers, "Kids like me only survive because someone gives, so let us give back." She champions the Sepsis Alliance too, explaining in simple words how a small infection can spiral out of control. At charity concerts, she pauses mid-set to remind crowds to learn the signs of organ failure, then launches into the next song with fresh fire. Her work with Children's Miracle Network hospitals sees her visiting wards, handing out teddy bears and humming Disney tunes beside beeping monitors. Each visit proves to young patients that their future can explode with color no matter how gray the present feels. Discovery of music. Oddly enough, Angelica's greatest instrument was born in that very ICU. When pain struck, she sang to drown it out. Nurses would peek in to hear her tiny soprano rise above the hiss of oxygen machines. Her father, James, recorded those raw lullabies on his phone and later posted them online. Comments poured in from Europe, Africa, and South America, all praising the bravery of a child who turned suffering into song. Whitney Houston's powerhouse notes became Angelica's classroom. She looped greatest love of all until she could copy every run, every held breath. By practicing those lines, she not only stretched her vocal cords, but also learned how words can heal broken hearts. First public shows. The moment she felt strong enough, her parents booked local gigs to sharpen her stage legs. She sang at breakfast fundraisers, retirement homes where grandparents wiped away proud tears, and sports arenas like the United States Open Men's semifinal event. Each small show taught her how to control nerves, greet sound crews, and adjust when microphones squealed. She learned to scan a room, find a shy kid in the corner, and sing right to them so they felt seen. Singing no longer felt like a hobby. It felt like armor. Every high note reminded her that she had beaten death and could beat fear too. America's Got Talent. Then came 2017. 9-year-old Angelica strolled onto America's Got Talent during season 12 and let loose Andrews rise up with such soul that many adults sobbed openly in their seats. The judges stared in disbelief, then piled her with praise and unanimous yes votes. In Judge Cut, she hit Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire so hard that guest judge Chris Hardwick slammed the golden buzzer. Golden confetti rained as Angelica covered her face in joyful shock. That press of a button launched her straight into the live rounds. She kept climbing. Quarterfinal night, she danced through Clarity by Zedd, while lights flashed like lightning. In the semifinal, she tackled Without You by David Guetta, gliding between soft whispers and blasting belts that blew the roof clean off. The finale felt like her personal concert. First Symphony by Clean Bandit and Zara Larsson wrapped the audience in soaring strings. Then she paired with Kelly Clarkson and Survivor Kechio Kwuchi on Stronger, What Doesn't Kill You, turning the stage into a wall of unstoppable hope. She finished runner-up to Darcy Lynn, the ventriloquist. Yet at just 10, she became the youngest second-place act in AGT history. Finishing second, only Supercharger climbed to world fame. TV critics scrambled to describe the magic. Entertainment Tonight hailed her as a force of nature in a pint-sized package, while Billboard wrote that her voice carried weight and meaning far beyond her years. Viewers started asking why more networks were not giving brave kids a place to roar. AGT The Champions. 2 years later, Angelica returned to franchise for AGT The Champions, a super edition where winners and standouts from across the globe battle for bragging rights. She was only 11, but her control and stagecraft had matured by miles. She picked Rachel Platten's fight song for her comeback, an anthem that felt written for her lungs alone. Howie Mandel could not sit still. He sprinted across the desk and smashed the golden buzzer again, making Angelica the first performer in show history to earn double gold. The internet exploded. Trending pages filled with clips of her leaping in slow motion through yet another shower of glitter, tears sparkling on her cheeks. In the final, she tackled Impossible by Chantel, pouring raw pain into the verses and pure hope into every soaring chorus. Judges wept, fans screamed, and reaction videos multiplied by the hour. Her second golden moment boosted her worldwide following even more. She booked shows in Canada, the Middle East, and Asia, where audiences sang along despite language barriers. The world understood emotion even when lyrics changed. Angelica's tale proves that a deadly illness cannot silence a brave dreamer, and a second-place finish cannot block destiny. Each time she walks on stage, she plants a louder flag, reminding millions that strength often wears a child-sized dress. Her voice has raised funding for kidney research, driven organ donor signups, and sparked new sepsis awareness drives in schools. Every project she tackles braids performance with purpose, so art and service lift each other higher. Producers reveal that a debut album packed with soulful pop anthems and sky-high ballads is already in the demo stage. Studios in Los Angeles and Atlanta have opened doors, and songwriting legends are lining up to tailor fresh tracks to her velvet falsetto and thunder belt. She teases an illustrated children's book that explains bravery during hospital stays, plus a short film tracing her kidney journey from fear to triumph. Every new project proves her rule. If a spotlight shines on Angelica, that light must also glow on someone who needs hope. Angelica Hale is still writing new verses to her story, and the world keeps listening, waiting for the next fearless note to fly. A roar rolled through the studio when Angelica Hale marched back onto the champion stage. Yet the sound that followed was even louder. Gone was a shy prodigy. In her place stood a polished powerhouse who knew exactly how to own the spotlight. What set this comeback apart was not fame alone. It was her heartbeat. Angelica carried the same down-to-earth grace she had as a kid, and that honesty slammed straight into her fans' hearts. Every performance during Champions proved she had crossed the invisible line, from cute wonder to full-scale professional. Viewers finally realized she was no longer the little girl with a big voice, but a top-tier vocalist battling seasoned stars and winning respect. Angelica also saw the platform as a chance to rewrite her visual story. Sleek outfits, confident strides, and a deeper vocal tone shouted that she was stepping into long-term superstardom. Critics cheered the maturity. Comment sections exploded with praise for her richer range and calm poise. Entertainment reporters declared that her return to AGT. The champions felt less like a reunion and more like a relaunch destined to soar. Major performances and media moments. Life after AGT turned into a whirlwind of marquee gigs, each one bigger than the last. In 2015, she stunned Arthur Ashe Stadium at the United States Open by belting America the Beautiful before a packed arena, proof she could rule giant venues far beyond a talent show crowd. Soon the National Football League came calling. Angelica delivered the anthem for the Dallas Cowboys clash with the Atlanta Falcons in her hometown, then wowed the rivalry between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens at Heinz Field. Every note cut to the roar of tens of thousands, showing she could thrive under live TV pressure. November 2017 brought the 91st Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, where she blazed down the streets of Manhattan, singing Alicia Keys' Girl on Fire on the Sprout Float. Viewers nationwide scrambled to learn the name of the tiny singer shooting sparks into the cold air. That season, she also lit up Steve Harvey's Little Big Shots with an emotional "I'll Be There," proving her talent could melt hearts in any setting. To cap the year, she joined the America's Got Talent Live tour, crossing dozens of cities, testing her endurance and sharpening stagecraft night after night. Each high-profile spotlight added muscle to her growing brand, turning her into one of the most requested young vocalists in North America. From stages to summits, Angelica's rise opened doors far beyond concerts. By 2021, she was headlining virtual panels on youth resilience, swapping stories with kids across Asia, Europe, and North America. She spoke not just as a singer, but as a survivor, urging dreamers everywhere to keep fighting. Online, she shared behind-the-scenes clips, pop-up live streams, and goofy updates that kept her global community buzzing. Fans watched her navigate hectic rehearsal days, record charity messages, and giggle through songwriting sessions, creating a bond that felt like family. International exposure and tours. The leap from national star to global act rocketed forward in 2019 when Angelica joined the TNT Boys on their Listen, the world tour as a special guest. The pairing blended two young Filipino heritage acts, electrifying crowds in Los Angeles, Edmonton, and more. Audiences exploded when she tackled Mariah Carey's Hero or Whitney Houston's Greatest Love of All, tackling impossible runs with fearless control. Canadian fans, in particular, cheered until the rafters rattled. A flare-up of illness forced her to pause the tour early, echoing the health battles of her childhood. Disappointed yet undeterred, she turned to social media, live streaming mini concerts and chatting with supporters while she healed, showing once again that grit beats setbacks. Angelica kept stacking world moments. She sang both anthems in Ottawa Senators hockey game, lifted spirits at Celebrity Fight Night with David Foster, and charmed A-list galas that raised millions for charity. Each appearance stretched her worldview and unlocked fresh artistry. Her growing visibility also made her a beacon for Asian American representation in Western entertainment. Outlets such as ABS-CBN and Philippine Star highlighted her pride and heritage, and she told them, "It means a lot to me to represent my Filipino heritage. I want other kids who look like me to believe they can do this too," inspiring a wave of hopeful singers worldwide. Songwriting and recording journey. At 11, Angelica made a daring pivot from cover queen to original storyteller, and fans cheered the bold step, drawing on illness, triumph, and raw hope. She penned Field of Magic in 2019, a thumping pop anthem that screamed determination. The matching video rocketed across YouTube and Facebook, where her loyal community celebrated the new chapter. Later that year, she dropped the Field of Magic EP, featuring Overcome, a stirring track that dove headfirst into the emotional storm she had weathered. Working with veteran producers, Angelica forged a polished sound that landed on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon Music. Proof the industry now viewed her as an artist with genuine voice, not just a reality show memory. Holiday Cheer soon became her signature side project. The Christmas Wonder EP in 2018 enjoyed to the world the following year-wrapped classic carols in fresh pop sparkle, turning her into a staple of family playlists every December. Critics loved the warmth. Parents loved the kid-friendly joy. Singles kept rolling. No time to waste. Donated proceeds to the Sepsis Alliance. Looking Up shone with bright optimism. And Set a Place at Your Table invited listeners to share compassion. Each song wove vulnerability with power, carving out her identity as both vocalist and storyteller. Angelica often explains that writing helps her connect beyond the spotlight, saying she wants music that helps people feel less alone. That goal lines up with a wider Gen Z push for honest art, and she stands front row in a movement. New pop icons like Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo pour their heartbreak into hit records, yet Angelica Hale twists that same honesty into pure hope. Her songs sparkle with scars and victories at once, proving listeners crave anthems that show real pain exploding into triumph. Acting dreams on fire, Angelica refused to stop at music. Leaping onto the big screen in the 2022 musical movie American Reject and lighting up the role of Anna, she played a shining kid who lifts a washed-up reality star, mirroring her own fight to stay bright in a rough industry. Critics cheered her for standing toe-to-toe with veteran actors, slinging jokes and heartfelt lines without blinking. That spark carried straight into voice work when Disney Jr. handed her Peggy the polar bear and Tots. Kids melted at her warm laugh, and producers noticed her gift for telling stories with sound alone. Soon she voiced Ty in Celebrate Chuggington and empowered the fearless lead in Maya Unstoppable, thrilling a younger crowd by proving bravery can be animated and real at the same time. Broadway Blaze. 2025 turned legendary when Angelica stormed the Broadhurst Theater for Boop the Musical. As Trisha, she helped reboot Betty Boop's world for modern watchers, belting live numbers while nailing dance breaks like a seasoned triple threat. Reviews raved that her energy shook the old walls, calling her the beating heart of the show. Years of training glued into one thunderous debut, and audiences roared every night. Stick around. If this journey lit a spark in your heart, smash like, punch a comment, and hit subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. The next video on screen dives even deeper, so tap it now and keep the inspiration rolling. See you there.